Hello, here we are. Cue the music. It's a good time. Say something, Ian. Do something. Dance. Dance for me, Ian. I don't know if anyone can hear this. I don't think they can. Oh yeah, they couldn't hear it last time. That's how real podcasts do it. I forgot they couldn't hear it last time, Ian. That's just how good of a podcast we are. Not even sure if people can hear our intro music. Ian, What's up, man? Tell me about your day. Tell me about your life. How's it going?
It's going. It's just going. It is just going.
You know what? Tell me about your food. What do you got today?
As for the listeners at home, I had to go get my microchip today. So I was very excited to hear it. So I don't have time to prepare anything. So what I did instead was we just had a meeting. We're with a graphics designer. We've got some big exciting things coming up that we're very stoked on. And I stopped at McDonald's, and that was my first time in a McDonald's, and I honestly couldn't tell you how long. That I had some pretty severe PTSD going in there and just being like, holy shit, I'm in a McDonald's. Like, that was a raw experience for me. When is the last time you bought something from McDonald's?
Last thing I bought something from McDonald's. Why, it must have been the March of 2016. On my way back from Istanbul, where I had just returned off of living a vegan lifestyle in a Middle Eastern country, and yeah, I came back and I had a chicken sandwich. That was the last time I've eaten at McDonald's.
Intense. I think technically you didn't break vegan code. I'm pretty sure whatever the hell they fed you wasn't chicken.
I think you're right.
So I tried to kind of mix it up a little bit. I know that menu mukbang is like a type of mukbang. So I did get every type of meat available at McDonald's. I got a spicy chicken sandwich. I got a fillet of fish, and I got a double cheeseburger. So dealer's choice. Shay, what should I start with?
I feel like you have like half of the food I have right here.
The toxicity of the food in front of me, though, is much higher than yours. So I think it evens out.
I literally think you ordered like what my dad would just buy himself for dinner on a night.
So here's my plan was to like clean house on the dollar menu.
But you're poor.
Yeah, so I bought less, more expensive things, to save money.
Fewer, more expensive things, Ian. English major much?
Yeah. Well. Anyway, true to McDonald's form. Oh God, they didn't get my order wrong. It just looks horrible. How embarrassing for them. So it looked like, true story, it looked like I couldn't see the dollar menu. I just don't know if they don't advertise it, but I wasn't going to ask. Like, I was like, I'm not going to be like, I don't want to be a 32-year-old man that like comes up and like I'm trying to score crack cocaine, like ask the cashier, like, yo man, how about that dollar menu? Like you guys still got that hookup? So
I'll never understand you, Ian. Oh, my food? Thanks for asking. Yeah, so this is a vegan curry, lovingly made by myself and my partner. You'll see it's a chickpea coconut curry. There is some carrot in here, a few types of pepper, some zucchini, some broccoli, allegedly. I'm not seeing any, though.
Yeah.
So I don't know what that whole fucking spill's about. And some basmati rice, cooked twice because the first time I didn't cook it enough. So, I'll do my
rice cook. Nice.
I'll do my my thing. Look at it, it's still steaming. I don't know if you guys can see that. I'll do the hand trick. Everyone loves the hand trick. Look how big these.
I still can't tell that it's
steaming,
I can kind of... there you go. Now I got a little steam action.
Yeah, it's
the black door behind you is what's picking it up.
And dude, this is actually really fucking good. So I think I'm just gonna mix. I'll just mix it here at this border here, and my plating's pretty sweet too. Can't say that's
Yeah.
not like a fun version
Looks
of a
good.
yeah.
It looks good. No, but
Mm,
I don't know. Yeah,
I'm actually fucking
it
starving.
that works. That works out
Yeah.
because you got that little meal there. Um, what was I gonna say? Was no, dude. It was yeah, no. It was like legitimately a little bit weird being in the McDonald's. Like I had like a serious flashback to my first apartment
Mm.
when we basically lived off McChickens on the dollar menu. Like I can't tell you how many times it was just like, all right, like let's scrounge up some change and go get dinner at the McDonald's. Um, because we were just so bad with money, like at that age, you know, and like working sporadically. Like I think at the time I was a waiter at Applebee's, and God knows you don't really get tipped well when you work at Applebee's.
Mm.
So
I imagine you would get free Applebee's though.
you
I
get
feel like Applebee's is like one notch higher than McDonald's, maybe two notches.
probably. I think we got an employee discount. It wasn't free food. So, fun fact, you guys, you can see my wife
Your wife
crawling.
just rolled by.
Babe, it would have been less weird if you just walked behind me. That was much stranger.
I really
That was like a Japanese horror movie. You know, like,
That's exactly what I was picturing. Not The Ring. What was the other really popular one with like the two kids from in the attic?
yeah.
I don't remember the name of that. Yeah.
The attic kids.
The attic kids. The attic family. Yeah.
Mm.
That was pretty fun. Thanks, Julian. That really made my day.
Yeah,
Mm.
that was hilarious. Yeah, that was great, babe. Thanks. Probably the most interesting thing that'll happen on tonight's mukbang for sure.
Fuck, man. I'm
You know what'd be fun?
fucking starving. What?
Mukbang gender reveals.
Walk me through it.
I don't know. You feed someone enough chemically processed meat until they explode, and if they explode blue, it's a boy. If they explode pink, it's a girl. If they explode purple, the parents have decided to let the child, determine its own sex as it grows. And I think that could be a great new genre of the GR, of the gender reveal.
The GR.
Mm-hmm.
What do you feel about like the concept of gender reveals generally?
Dumbest shit I've ever heard of.
Generally.
I don't fucking care. I don't fucking care about babies in the first place. Why the fuck would I care about yours? Why are you throwing a party to let me know about its genitals? Like, fuck off. Like, I'm sorry. Like, I hate you. Like, I hate you. All right, maybe hate's a strong word. I think you're a fucking loser. I'm kidding. That's just me being silly. That's just me having fun. No, I think they're dumb. Honestly, I just think they're stupid.
You think they're stupid? Okay. So what's a better reason to party?
Don't have a party. Who cares?
No parties.
No parties. Where you?
So
Why?
so yeah, so just no parties for any like can you party for
No
birthdays?
parties.
Parties for birthdays? No.
No parties. No parties. No parties for babies until they're old enough to start forming memories. Okay. So from 1 to 4, blocked off. All right. That we have Photoshop now. Take a picture of a baby, superimpose it on a party. Be like, look at this party we had for your birthday. Be like, wow, I don't remember that. Yeah, it's because you were a baby, and baby, you don't remember anything.
You don't think the baby would be like, that's so funny. I remember no one caring about me at all my formative years.
Babe, that's not how it works being a baby. I'm not saying like don't feed, clothe, and shelter it. I'm just saying like it's redundant to throw a party. Honestly, throw on a video of a birthday party, put a baby in front of it, and the baby will probably think that it's for it. Okay. Congratulations. I've saved everybody a ton of money, and I've saved everybody a bunch of fucking plastic from ending up in the ocean. Because it's honestly like anything you buy for a fucking child within 6 months, that's where it fucking goes, into a fish. Speaking of which, I'm about to enjoy my fillet of fish.
You're gonna be done with all of your food in like 3 minutes.
I'll slow down.
I'm gonna go on record and say this was mukbang light.
Mm,
A mukbang cop out from the angriest member of Camp Re-Education.
I'm so angry. Hey,
Oh,
that's its own genre of a mukbang
mukbang,
too. Nika avocado style meltdown.
just rage.
I'm having a meltdown right now just at the idea of even being invited to a gender reveal party. Like just the sheer blind anger I would feel at just getting that invitation that would have splotches of blue or pink and like a guess who. So
What if I got a dog and I hit its genitals in like a diaper all the time until the day that I get to reveal the gender of my dog with a big gender reveal party. I do it at a
yeah,
public park, make sure I take up a couple grills, everyone's around, and then like I buy like a ton of plastic confetti, and then I just like shoot it up into the air, and then
no.
with the dramatic reveal of my dog's gender. How do you feel about that? Now that's a party that I could get behind. What do you think?
I think here's my proposal for your dog's gender reveal. You strap some rockets to the dog. You fire the dog into the air, and the dog explodes. Once that's finished, you turn to your expectant or now horrified guest and you say, "Guess what gender that dog was?"
what what happened to you today? Who is this Ian? I've never seen such a cynical, angry Ian before.
It's a first for the show for sure. Like that's never. Yeah. Well, okay. So here. I guess I don't know. Like here's my stance on it. Apparently, like the last big fire in California was started because of a gender reveal party.
Is that true?
Apparently in Mexico, a plane was just shot down because of a fucking gender reveal party. So it's
Are you
like,
making this up? Is this real?
no, this is real.
How do you know this much about gender reveals?
I don't know, man. I just like I've got a weird brain. Like stuff that I see just like lodges itself in there, and then it's like you never know when you're gonna need it. Like right now, for example, I'm like, oh hey, look, that information that I squared away for later use is finally proving fruitful.
I feel like this is the result of you doing like 3 hours of research before tonight's mukbang. And very casually, it's like, oh yeah, gender reveals, let's talk about that. I just might have a few things to mention.
Honestly, like I think that this is why having a podcast is fantastic for someone with like an ADD style attention span because you get so distracted by all this information. You're like, there's nowhere to put this. But like in a podcast, the conversation goes so many places. You're like, oh, I have something for this.
Hmm.
There's like totally useless information that like I just stumbled upon. Like now I get to use it.
Ian, so I know we released our first episode for Mukbang Camp comes out in 2 days.
Oh, that's right. Yeah.
Yeah, we've said some things in there, and to any of the loyal two viewers who are watching who maybe know what some of that actually no one knows what that content is. So, but to any of these loyal fans who might get a sneak preview into the following week's camp, have your views changed at all since then? Like, do you still feel like what are we like? Where are you at now? Like, is this a mukbang to you? Like, what do you? Like, yeah, I get. Let's start there. Is this a right now mukbang?
It's not.
So why not? What's wrong with it?
Because we're engaged in conversation with each other, and I feel like mukbang is like, but I don't know. I don't know. It's like it's become so different, and I feel like maybe in the past couple of years, especially, it's really, and we talk about this in the episode. I feel like it's really trying to see what else it can be. I feel like there's this anxiety, like mukbang anxiety. Now that there's so many mukbangers, now that quarantine is ending as well, and people can like go back to, eating at restaurants, dining with friends. I think mukbang is anxious. It's like, well, where are we going to go from here? In Korea, I think it could still potentially be a thing because like social pressures and norms, the social pressures and norms that led to mukbang being a thing in Korea, I don't think those are going to go away post-COVID. But I think the same thing that made it blow up over here, like I think that energy that sustained it is going to dissipate.
You think COVID was good for mukbang?
I do. How about you?
I have to imagine, yeah. People can't see, go out, eat with loved ones. people can't spy on other people across the restaurant eating. No,
Yeah.
so they have to go online and get their fix.
Well, it's interesting too, because I mean, like in America, it's not a big deal to eat by yourself, but like in Korea, apparently it was like kind of a taboo thing.
Mm.
And then like it was like, oh, you have no friends, you have no family, like what's wrong with you?
All right,
Whereas
so
here, it's like, oh, there's an independent person.
if we wanted to make this more mukbangy, should we like what do we do? I have to do a lot more of this stuff, right? I have to go like ooh, oh god,
Yeah, but it's
mm,
just like I don't know, like I don't.
fuck. This is orgasmic. There's
I feel muck.
cum
But
all
yeah,
over my mouth,
let's do
everywhere.
like let's incorporate a little more mukbanginess. All right, like I just for example, it's like what? Oh, see this stuff right here. Oh yeah, that's the McDonald's special sauce. That's the McDonald's special sauce. There's a lot of that, like that feels I mean, should we sustain that energy? Like, should we do that the whole time, or
But yeah, I guess it
there's
depends.
here's the question: should we versus do you want to?
There was a. You know what's interesting is you asked me should we, and the question I was ready to answer is do I want to? Um, I don't want to.
Yeah.
Should we? Well, I don't know because I don't even know if that's even what most like I still feel like most of the mukbangs I see are like um
Have you? Okay, I'm
quietly
sorry.
just like
Finish your sentence, and then I have a question.
well I was going to until you said that. um I think most of the mukbang I see is like or I have seen is just like people quietly like I told you this like they're just like oh god this zucchini and then 10 seconds of silence,
Yeah.
you know. I think that's mostly what I see. I do see like the really like high energy ones as well, but that feels
Mm.
I don't know somehow different.
It feels. Does it feel genuine to you? Like, does it feel sincere? Does it feel like someone trying to get a paycheck? It feels
Uh,
clownish to me.
I think it is clownish, but I don't. I would almost argue that that is sincere, like in the same way a comedian going on stage. Like, is that like sincere? I mean, that's clearly a
It depends on the
performance.
comedian, right? Like every comedian's got their own brand. I mean, that was like Dane Cook's thing, and then like all of a sudden everybody hated Dane Cook.
Hmm.
They're just like, you know what? Fuck this guy.
How many comedians do you think go onto the stage and feel like they are not doing a performance?
Hmm. But it's a different type of performance, right? Like at least like when you're a comedian, you're making social observations. And like I've talked to you about this before. I think there's like a lot of parallels between philosophy and stand-up comedy. There's a lot of like social observation, commentary, analysis, predictions. Like humor is subversive. You're being political. Like I mean, what in mukbang is like inherently political or challenging? I mean, I think there is an status quo challenging element to mukbang, but I don't think that's necessarily what they think they're doing. So
That's interesting. I guess I don't. Yeah, I mean, I guess like going back to like the like authenticity. Like I think it's. I mean, yeah, I don't think anything of this is like purely authentic. But like, is that what people go to like entertainment for? Is authenticity? Like, I feel like that's why you go to like memoirs or autobiographies.
as someone who's read a shitload of memoirs and like has a few drafts of his own, like I do know like what's so funny is I stumbled across this quote by one of his writers, and he's like, if you want to read fiction, read someone's autobiography. You want to read someone's autobiography, read fiction. So it's just like
Mm,
I do think there's a lot of like embellishment in memoir. So it's inverted, right? It's funny because like we have this conversation all the time about authenticity. Like I just made that meme for the our Instagram page when we were covering like the emotional voyeurism aspect, right? Like if you put it all on your sleeve, but then you also sell it, like does that I don't know, like mere act somehow contaminate the authenticity? Because it's just like I feel like you kind of get stuck to that brand. You're like, okay, like this is what they bought, this is what they want. I have to like this is who I am now. So it's just like it becomes like a mask of a passing moment, I guess. I don't know. I don't really know how to put it. I haven't thought about it that much.
Hmm.
You know what's funny is I've thought about it a lot, but I haven't really tried to articulate it. So,
That's interesting.
mm.
Yeah, I don't know. I think like yeah, I think like the mukbangers are just like they're performers in the same way that any other entertainer is like putting on a performance. Like even if it's like I don't think they enjoy the food that much. Actually, you know what? I take it back. There are some who don't try that hard. And I think those people, the less they try, the more authentic it is. Probably the worse it is to watch, probably the more authentic is the mukbang.
I was talking to my ghost wife earlier this evening, who you saw crawl behind me on camera. Oh God, I forgot. When I eat spicy food, I get the hiccups. So I got to deal with this for a second. Um, I was talking to. God damn it. Oh, I got a question. It'll take us somewhere, but I gonna need a second.
Do you want to mute your mic?
No. I was talking to Gene about this, and I was like, do I respect like a lot of entertain like athletes? I respect them. Comedians, I respect them. Like, even like a bad comedian to stand up in front of an audience for an hour and bomb, like, dude, I don't think I could do that. I would
Oh, I
I would
couldn't.
break
Yeah,
my water glass and cut through my wrists on stage to get it over with.
that sounds awful. Yeah.
Yeah, so it's like I was just like, do I respect mukbang? And it's just like, do you think that mukbang is a talent?
I think yeah, to do anything in a way that entertains is not anything.
But it's like are they making eating entertaining, or is like are they just eating and people are for some reason entertained by it?
I guess it depends what kind
You're
of
watching.
mukbanger. Yeah, like because I mean like the fucking in that Vice documentary, like the guy wearing like the army clothes, super high energy, laughing and like with his guests, be like, "Oh my god, I can't believe she said that!" Like that whole
Yeah.
vibe is like definitely a shtick. I mean, I mean, that guy is like turning it up to entertain people.
Mm.
And I mean, I think fucking, I think Nikado Avocado, that dude.
We come up with a fucking shorthand for him? Like I'm so tired of struggling through his name.
Let's just call him Avocado. So
Okay.
Avocado, when
We'll just
he,
call him Nikocado. Nikocado.
I'm gonna call him Avocado.
Agree to disagree, but okay, go on, go on.
um, I think that dude is clearly like a showman. Like the character he plays is bizarre and like like I don't know, frenetic and I don't know. I don't know, something like very like Jekyll and Hyde about him. Like bipolar, I guess.
Well, you sent me that documentary, and they were like, "Is Nikocado Avocado like losing his mind?"
Yeah, I mean that was a really dude. Okay, so the interesting thing about that like documentary or whatever it was, it's
It wasn't
made
a
by
documentary. It was another YouTuber.
exactly, and that woman who made that documentary, who makes all of she basically or whatever like an essay is like a video essay. She
Mm.
basically has a whole series of video essays just on like eating and like a ton on mukbang. And I was like, okay, who is this woman like who's saying this thing about avocado?
Yeah.
And then like I go into it, I was like, man, she has a lot about like this whole like food industry thing, which was weird. I didn't expect that.
Mm.
But yeah, by the way, we did get a comment from one of our most prolific comment writers.
Commenters.
Yeah.
It's
This
Juyeon Kim.
it's Joo Kim, as you know. Yeah, one of our most whatever. She says, "Is this mukbang or eating dinner with your father?"
I don't have conversations this good with my father.
I asked her, which one is the father? Like, it's like is one of us the son and the father in this relationship?
I don't know. I hope she gets back to us.
I asked her, she didn't respond. So,
Yeah,
we'll.
she looks busy.
How can you tell?
Yeah, I'm just guessing.
She
I'm assuming.
seems busy.
Yeah.
Mm, but
All right. So going back to something you said earlier about whether or not I changed my mind. And it's funny, like I never recorded it, but like I don't know. I guess like maybe my preconceptions about mukbang were that like it was going to be extremely boring, and I think that's just been confirmed. Like I do hate watching these videos. Like I think they're, I mean, maybe that's why I liked Rattata. I mean, at least they're like they've incorporated a performance aspect that isn't just being an obnoxious personality. It's like at least they're doing things with like editing and production and stuff like that, and like costume design and set design and color schemes. So it's like, and then I was like, all right, like I respect this more than I guess like the more traditional form of it. But
I don't even see
yeah.
that as mukbang though. I still like think of that as
How
like
is it? I mean, like it, but like if mukbang is just eating in front of, like they're doing the eating part.
they're not though. Like half the time they're like putting like um Legos on like play food, and they're like, I'm eating it, but they're not.
Sure,
They're not. You know, they're like pretending to eat. It's that
that's a fair
that
point. That's a fair point.
that stuff's pretty strange. Like and I also don't think like one thing, I don't know if this is like critical to like mukbang, but they're not eating like any. I mean, if they're, I don't even know if they're eating at all, but if they are, they're also not eating like huge portions. You know.
Yeah, which apparently I don't know. Which I guess shouldn't be mukbang, but is now. So let me ask you a question: have you watched an entire mukbang from start to finish, single episode? Turned on a mukbang without fast forwarding it and watched the whole thing start to finish?
No.
Neither have I. I couldn't. I don't think I could do it.
Whenever I have watched them, I've always watched them at double speed.
Same
Uh,
here. Same here. And it's just like I kind of like click ahead a little bit. I'm like, okay, I get it. I get it. I get it. All right, cool. Next video.
yeah, it's pretty much what I do as well. Um, yeah, it's pretty fucked. I'm getting really stopped. I'm not gonna lie about that. This is really intense. And you're done with your food.
Perfect timing.
Yeah.
You're full. I'm done. Like,
Mm.
actually, I did get a McFlurry that I've got in the fridge. So hold on. You just, I'll be right back.
Here we are, the halfway point of our segment. As with all of our mukbangs, I'm left here for a few moments to fend for myself. Distract and entertain. Oh, the role of a co-host. At times is too much to bear. How do I continue, you ask? Why, of course, with a healthy vegan diet. That's why this curry features no products made by animals. But Shay, you ask, that sauce, it looks so creamy. Well, that's right. That's the coconut milk, and that's the secret to any great curry. Anyway, thank you for your time, and now, back to the show.
All right. So I've got a question for you, unless you have one ready.
I'm ready. What is it?
Do you think that doing mukbangs has helped enhance our understanding of it, or have we just been eating shitty food? We've been eating pretty well.
Yeah, I've eaten pretty well. Um, I guess just like the quantity is obviously like way dumb. Do I understand it more because I've done it? Yeah, you know
Yeah.
what? Actually, like you made this point a couple times about like how much money they're probably making, and I mean
Yeah.
like it doesn't seem that easy for people to just get a lot of attention on these mukbangs. Like I'm seeing like we've peaked at 4 viewers live during this thing. Right now we have 3.
We're also
Like
not. Yeah.
and
We're also
shout out
not
to
like
all you guys. Love you, my fans. Don't forget to like and subscribe. Ring that bell. Ring a ding a ding a ding a ding. You want to be notified. We're gonna come out with some new episodes. Anyway, that kind of stuff. So like,
Yeah.
um, so I do think that there's like a part of this that like is like it's harder to like. I mean, it's hard to break through noise in anything. So like, I think like the amount of people
Yeah.
who you see that are successful have to be doing something better or different or whatever, or have been really lucky, right place, right time kind of stuff. But
Yeah.
I don't
I think
know.
a lot of it is luck.
Yeah.
So
Ian, all right, sorry. We have another some comments from some of our amazing fans here. This
yeah.
one is from our number one commenter, that of course is Ju Kim, who says, "Ian is a biological father. Shay is a foster father." Then she goes on to say, "Both are boring, but Shay at least tries." To be boring or to be entertaining? I
Probably
guess
to be entertaining.
we'll never know because there's no way for her to leave another comment.
Probably
So,
to be entertaining.
nah, come on. No, you're right. You're obviously right.
Yeah.
So I don't know. I mean, I do think there's like I think like us diving in and trying a little bit ourselves does help like expand it. Like I mean,
Mm,
it's been a while since I've like forced myself to eat past my like hunger or my fullness threshold, whatever. And I will say it sucks. Like it's not fun to do it. I mean, this is delicious. I actually really like this,
yeah.
but you know, I just ate my lunch for tomorrow. Like normally I make the same basically the same portion I made tonight. It's normally like lunch and dinner for the next couple days, and this is like you know, I'm like almost done with it. Well, I don't know if I'm gonna finish this rice because I don't think I have enough sauce for that, but still.
Mm. No, same here. Same here. Like when we cook stuff, it's like, all right, like um dinner portion. And then like, great, we've got lunch for 2 days.
Right,
Like lunch and maybe part of a snack that we can incorporate for dinner.
right.
Um what's so funny is like doing the mukbangs, like I can at least like empirically understand the physical discomfort that accompanies the mukbang. So it's like I know I'm being mean. I feel like I'm being mean to mukbang. Would you agree? Do you think I'm being like harsh on mukbang?
Yeah.
I think so too. And it's like I don't know. It's like it's tough. It's tough.
I don't know. It's weird because there's not a single part of it that's like appeals to like a like that we already had. There's no like clear extension. You're like, oh, I mean, maybe if we were both more of like foodies, maybe we could get more into it. You know, like really cared about like cooking and shit.
Yeah.
I mean, this is like food I normally cook, so it's like I'm not trying like a new recipe or like also, you know what we're not doing is we're not being like, oh, I've been dying to try this new place around the corner. You know, it's like an Ethiopian restaurant. Like I hear they have like amazing like locally sourced organic flour, and they make this traditional Ethiopian, you know, non type dish or anything. There's nothing like that, or like we're not doing that. So I
Yeah.
think if we had an interest like that, maybe that would be more interesting. But like us just sitting around like eating our normal food like in excess. I mean, it's nice I get to chat with you. That was one thing I was actually thinking about after the first mukbang is like, or the second one, like you and I never. I mean, I know even like this conversation, you know, we're still mindful of the fact that people are watching, but like
Yeah.
we don't have like totally unscripted conversations that are like intentionally casual ever anymore. So in that sense, it's kind of nice to just be like, oh, we're just talking about literally whatever, and we're just like
Yeah.
keep the energy up. That's like kind of like what we're doing, you know?
Yeah, no, for real. You're right about that, and it's funny because like after that first conversation, I was like, that was a nice convo. I thought we could record one of those a week and like put it on Patreon. It's like, hey,
Right?
so chatting with buds. No, but yeah, it's funny. Oh, and like to your to kind of like what you were saying. I mean, what do we have time, right? Like we're so busy with like the production elements of the show. It's like I feel like every time we do have a spare second, it's like, all right, let's try to like think ahead a little bit to give ourselves some leeway. So
Right.
yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. Dude, it's fucking interesting. It's funny how much effort we put into like our podcast in general too, because it's like this whole thing is like this conversation that we're doing right now, like in some ways is like the kind of conversations that like a lot of podcasts are. And like meanwhile we do like an insane amount of production like on our real episodes. And like we put out 3 mukbangs a week as like prep for like the
Yeah.
one episode we will put out at the end of each of these weeks. You know, it's like insane.
Yeah, and it's funny too because like I think part of like my frustration was just like I guess my concern
Excuse me.
was like, oh man, like this is only gonna take up like 5 minutes of showtime. Like I could be like researching and like actually like finding things to talk about. So it's like I have like weird anxiety about stuff like that. Like it's hard. It's just like hard to shake and like that was true like in Korea as well. Like when I was like writing all the time, like if Julian and I tried to like do something and like we got caught in traffic or something ended up taking too long, I'd be like, oh my God, like this is time that I could be like using writing. Like what am I doing? Like how am I, spending my life? So
So interesting. That's a very special kind of anxiety. Like,
yeah,
what is that?
say again.
Like, what is that? Because I know, like, I feel that sometimes, but I know people, like, Stephanie never feels that. Like, I don't think Stephanie
Really?
feels like, I don't know, like, our Brandon, who we interviewed for microdosing camp. Like, I know,
Mm,
remember in high school, him telling me very early on, he's like, I've never been bored, or like I haven't been bored since I was a child, or something like that. I was just like,
What does that mean? Like, I don't.
he's never like anxious to be anywhere else. Like, and I believe him. I've seen it. Like, it's
Mm.
honestly, it's to a fault. Like, we traveled together, and I was like, Brandon, the train is leaving. We have to go. And he's like, I'm almost done with my coffee. I'm just like, I don't fucking care. There now is the time to be anxious. And he's like,
Yeah.
I'm happy with the surroundings right now. Shut the fuck up. We gotta go. You know what I mean? But like the positive side of like being an asshole like that is you get to like live very presently in contentment. And so he feels that a lot. And I see that a lot
Yeah.
with Steep too, with Stephanie. Like she it's just like very content in a lot of situations. There's no like constant drive to be moving or doing, which like one hand I think like makes people like you and me very productive. Like I think
Mm.
you and I were like, well, no, we have to be putting something out, like doing something, like growing or building or whatever, or at least trying to. That's like the benefit, but the other side is like, at least personally, I feel uncomfortable in stillness, and I imagine you might too. I mean, that seems like what you're describing.
Absolutely the same.
Yeah.
On the one hand, it's like on the one hand, I think it's what makes us such good creative partners. But then on the other hand, I think this is where a lot of our like tension comes in because of like we feel like we're working on something that we don't think is going to work. Like one of us is like, no, this will work, but the other one doesn't feel like it's going to work. It's like this isn't going to work. We're wasting our time working on this. Like we should be like focusing on something else that will work. So it's like it's funny like how like when we're both on like it's really great because we're both like, all right, I'll do this, you do this, and we get a ton of stuff done. But it's like as soon as we're like we kind of come to an impasse, both of us are like,
Yeah.
so
Man, it is really crazy, especially like how much now that especially now our new release schedule too is like there's also like a back end pressure that's like every passing moment is like
yeah.
a moment that's like puts us further to a potential catastrophe if we don't hit our like self-imposed deadlines, which is so weird because like, no one would care if we'd like skipped an episode or like skipped a week. It's like, oh, it's Shay's birthday, no episode, like, or
Yeah.
make something up. Shay's mom's
We could probably just do something like this as filler. Like, hey guys, like here's an episode for you.
hmm
We had some family stuff, or like we're on vacation, so here's some things to talk about.
right.
But we're like, no, it has to be like, no, yes,
It's funny because like you want every episode to be like, if it's potentially someone's first impression,
yeah,
be really
right.
good. Like who wants to put just like like it's just weird because like when we see like the kind of quality that we like aim for all the time, and then
Mhm.
like to put out something like this, it's interesting because like it's clear that our speaking skills have improved from
Mhm.
episode one, but like it's also really interesting to like just to like see the standards to which we hold ourselves in terms of like production and content. Like I don't want to like waste an hour of someone's fucking time like
Yeah,
just talking about our feelings, which is like it does feel somehow like robbing someone of their lifetime.
yeah.
We're so worried about our own, like how dare we like rob someone else of theirs. So to Juyeon Kim out there, we just stole all these minutes from you and you're never gonna get them back.
All these precious moments. Well, it's
Yeah.
like it's funny too, and like I don't know, kind of to take it back to the authenticity thing a little bit. I don't know if I'm backtracking, but even that comment about like, oh, like at least you're like trying. Like it's so weird too because I feel like if I try to kind of like dance the dance, then it's like, I'm like, well, people are gonna see through this and they're gonna be like, nah, this is fake, and like they wouldn't stick around. Like I'd rather kind of be maybe a less engaging, authentic self than like something that's like clearly like da da da. But it's and it's weird too because like usually I have no problem with it, but as soon as someone tells me turn it on, I'm like it's like someone kind of like comments on how you walk. All of a sudden you become very conscious of like the way that you move.
Yeah.
So
They're like, wow, you're really blinking too often. You're like, okay, what's the right amount to blink? It's like, is this
we
right?
know
Am I doing it right?
we know what's so funny too is like no one will know this, but we organize everything for our show in Slack, and like my avatar right now is that clip from like the Flintstones thing where she's saying like I feel like a shallow parody of the club I want to join. It seems like anytime I try to fit in, I only prove that I don't belong. And like that's kind of how I feel when it's like all of a sudden it's like, all right, like I know like the character version of like a YouTuber or a podcaster, but like as soon as I kind of have to put that hat on, I'm like, this is an imitation, and it's a bad one at that.
It's really interesting, like how that affects for you too. It's really different for from like my reaction to this, like because there's like part of it's still there, but yours is like an intensity that I don't see in myself, and it's and like the our first mukbang, like you like it's like go 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 high energy, like we were like laughing, and
Yeah.
which was fun and it was entertaining, but it's also like it's like it's like kind of like breakneck speed. It's like giving me whiplash, you know. I'm just like, oh man, this
Yeah.
is like an intensity. It's like it's funny because like sometimes I love that, like when I don't know. Sometimes I really do love it. Like, but
Yeah.
sometimes it's tiring. But it's interesting that your go-to reaction oftentimes is like, hey, it's like we're on, you know, like it's like what do you think that comes from?
I don't know. I don't know. I have no idea, honestly. I really don't know. You
What
know
was
what's so
like
funny too is like my mom used to tell, and Julian and I had a fight about this recently. Maybe I'll get into that later. But my mom always used to tell me, she's like, when you start to repeat yourself, that's when you're dead.
oh, interesting.
She's like you're done. She's like as soon as you start repeating yourself and saying the same things over and over, like you're already dead. You're dead in the water. And it's like that's one of those things that just kind of like stuck with me. So it's like I know, sometimes I kind of pout when we had to like do the read-ons and stuff like that. I'm like, I don't want to do the read-ons, like I said it last time.
Uh-huh.
Um, so it's just like, yeah, it's like this like weird anxiety of like, always having to be doing something different. And like this is part of the reason why, I was really interested in like comedy, and I was like, it was something I thought about doing. Um, Here's a wild story. Okay. So my senior year project, I had this teacher named Mr. Burr, and he was like, I want you guys to figure out how to achieve your dreams. Like, don't just say you're going to do it. Like your senior project is to try to accomplish your dreams. Um, so he was like, he was like, Ian, what do you want to do? Like we had meetings in his office, and I was like, I think I want to do comedy. He's like, all right. Um, Find out a local list of local comedy clubs. And I was like, holy shit. So like I had to call around and like ask them like questions and stuff like that and see if I could perform. Um, and one of the guys was like, he's like, yeah, like tell you what, if you can like come up with a routine and you can like do a set, um, like I'll put you on stage, but you gotta like come up with like a 5 minute set or something like that, or like a 3 minute set. I was like, okay, like what do I need to do? Like I was dumb enough to think that comedians just got on stage and were fucking funny for an hour. And he's like, yeah, you write your jokes and then you just practice them. So like I wrote a bunch of jokes, and then I was just like practicing them and practicing them and practicing them. And like the more I was just like saying the same things over and over again and trying to find a new way to say them, like the less I enjoyed the experience. And I was just like, I hate this. I was like, are you telling me comedians go? And like then it like dawned on me, and it's like comedians go to like hundreds of cities a year and just say the same shit every night to different people. Like I would go insane. That seems fucking crazy.
Yeah, that is, yeah, especially considering what your mom drilled into you.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So it's so funny too. That was like a definitely like a dig at my dad, who's just like it has like a couple key catchphrases that he goes to, and my mom is just like, hmm, I get to hear this again. Great.
Dead in the water. That is really funny. It is interesting, like the kind of things we take with us, and like as kids, you know, like your mom telling you that, and just like now, like with the role that's played now, like throughout the rest of your
Mhm.
life. Because I know I have things like that too. Like my dad, like talking to me like really early on about like the importance of like learning things, and like I think the only
Oh,
reason I have any curiosity at all is because my dad would like take some time, like take a lot of time to like explain like really mundane things to me, and like to his like infinite credit, like had such patience with me, just like sitting down and being like, this is what a star is. Like when you look up in the sky, like it's a big ball, you know, like trying to break it down for like my 5-year-old brain to like understand. I was actually thinking about this the other day. It's like, should I like take like if I ever encounter a child, should I take a moment with them and explain some really big concept as like best I can, and just be like, hey, you'll learn this a bunch of times in your life, but it's really important that you understand that correlation does not equal causation, and just try and like explain that to like a 6-year-old, and just have them and like be like, I could be the guy forever that like really drilled into them to like remember about like, ways to like manipulate statistics or whatever to
Yeah.
like,
I could be the guy.
I could be the
I could be
guy.
the guy to teach this kid to brainwash the masses and lead America into a fascism for the new age.
Someone's got to do it.
Yeah. Do you consider yourself an anxious person?
You know what's really interesting? I realized recently that I've been feeling less anxiety than I had been a couple weeks prior.
Mm.
Um, do I consider myself an anxious person? Generally no, but I do have like some anxiety from PTSD that can be very overwhelming.
Yeah.
But not, I wouldn't say like a conventional like I guess a chronic anxiety. Why? How about you?
It's just weird. Like time. Time is the thing I'm most anxious about. Like it's just like, am I spending right? And I think a lot of it is that, like, now that, like, as an adult, the projects that I feel most passionate about are like, educational ones. um I feel like I wasted a lot of time. It's just like I always feel like I'm making up for lost time. It's just like, God, I should have learned this when I was younger. I should have like focused more. But it was like tough because I was a kid with like really severe ADD. So it's like I kind of beat myself up for like not having the ability to sit down and like master concepts. Which is why like the project we have now is so great because like we don't have to spend more than 2 weeks on one. Um, so it's like I can utilize and like hone this like really intense focus um before it burns out, because for a lot of things it's like I just kind of hit a creative wall and I'm like, I'm done. um so it's like, and it's funny, like I feel like you can definitely see that with like the mukbang. It's like, no, like I get it, Shay, like we've done 3 mukbangs, so, all right, like let's like incorporate another element. So
Yeah, it's interesting, man. Um, it's interesting also that you talk about like time feeling so fleeting and like the medium you've devoted so much energy is like inherently a very time intensive one. Like
yeah.
all of our episodes are an hour and a half.
But it will like the reason I like it though, and this is one of the reasons I like really, I think I've always had this kind of time anxiety, but this is why I like art so much, is because at least there's like something to show for it. you
Mm.
know it's like, I feel like people who live a more pleasure centric life, or just like, yeah, I'm just going to enjoy things. It's like, at the end there's just like nothing, right? You're like, fuck, like how did I spend that time? But at least like with my writing, with the podcast, with songs I've written, it's like I have things to show for it. It's like, oh, like this period of my life when I was 16 years old, like check this out. Or like, oh, like here's the song that I have left over. So it's like almost like a permanent souvenir from that time that like almost like brings you back to it. It's like I'm trying to think of like the word or something. Like, fuck, what's so weird is like the word that came to mind was the fucking Harry Potter one, like the Horcruxes, the things that like Voldemort was putting himself in, and like I actually hate that. That's what fucking came to me. Um, but yeah, I don't know. I think that's, for me, that's always been a way to like mediate it, you know?
Do you feel that way about like all types of art, or do you think it's like it's interesting because like even songs are like time-based art that only exists within the passage of time, as opposed to I guess like painting or like
I
a
think I
still
told you like
a
the
still
best
image.
description I ever saw was like painting decorates space, music decorates time. Um,
Right. I love that too. I think about that every once in a while.
yeah, that's
But
a
I guess
great.
like
I wish I came up with that. I didn't, but
yeah.
it's a great analogy.
I guess what I'm asking though is like, because I have that too. Like I think like the other day I was like playing some songs that I had written on guitar, and like like I write music pretty infrequently, and I write it even less frequently on guitar. But when I
Mhm.
do, sometimes like the songs I write there are like often way more sentimental. It's normally like a month of time where I was like loosely like going back to it. And like those like are like one of the most like time capsule-esque like memories I have of like periods of time. Like I just played the song I wrote for Eric when we were dating back in around the time you and I met.
Yeah.
And it's crazy, like playing that song like brings me right back to there. But I don't necessarily feel the same way like if I were to like draw a picture. or like I don't know. I'm trying to think of like other forms of art, or like I
I guess
imagine
that's like not your medium, you know? It's
is
like
that just what it
you
is?
can't, maybe you can't feel yourself go into that. It's like it's also like a passion thing, I think. Like it's like you're leaving kind of like that psychical energy into that thing. So it's like it really feels like it's a part of yourself that you poured into something that kind of gets to like exist within this like confine of time that you always have to go back to.
Yeah, it's certainly. I mean, maybe you're right. Maybe I don't experience like a sense of flow when,
Yeah.
like, if I were to draw. I mean, I don't know. I used to draw in high school. Like, I can like kind of draw.
Yeah. I used, you know what's so funny is like I had a comic strip and when I was like in part of the reason I failed my freshman year of high school is because like I in all my classes I didn't do any work. I just worked on this comic strip called Shaken Not Squeezed. Um and I worked on it all the time, like constantly. Like my even my parents were like, you know, and it's funny too, because like they almost kind of like I feel mean saying this, like, but they did kind of suck the joy out of things because it was just like you could like make this your career. You could make a lot of money doing this. And I was just like, like it just makes me happy. Like, can you not like put it in this framework that like makes me anxious about it? Um and but yeah, like I was just like, okay, yeah, like I'll do this. Like I'll create like a whole like little world because I loved Calvin and Hobbes growing up. So I definitely like grew up thinking of stories like through that framework in a sense. So it's just like, yeah, like I'll do this. Um, so I was like super into it for a while. And I'm like, I don't know what happened. Like, I don't know if like they kind of wrung out all the joy from it. Cause I do know for a while I was like, my mom took me to like art academies to like make a portfolio so I could go to art school. And that, like, that definitely sucked the joy out of it. Like they
Wow.
would just be like, all right, here's what we're doing today. Do this. And I'd be like, but I want to make my comics. And they'd be like, you know, that's not going to get you into art school. I'm like, I don't want to go to art school. I just want to make some fucking comics.
Wow.
Yeah.
It's really interesting. Like Annie and I had this conversation yesterday about
Mm.
the kind of songs we've made together and like the ones that have been like the most successful. And she's like, yeah, like we should make some like why would you not want to make music that like you can stand to make a lot of money from? And then she's like, that's what I want to do. Like I want to like like I want to be famous and successful and like all this stuff. And I was like, I thought I wanted that for like a minute, and like that's why we made such like poppy stuff, for like
Mm.
a while. But then eventually I realized I was like, and I think you and I talked about this too. It was like the songs I liked the most were never the ones. They were always like the ones that were just weird and like
Yeah.
experimental, and like I like there was something about it. I was like, isn't it so fucking weird I did that there? It's like it works, but isn't it weird that it works? Or, like something like
Yeah.
that. And then it's just like we had like this realization that's like, man, like the goals are different. Like I just want to like make music because I like it and have fun. And that was like something I was just like, she's like, why would you want to do it? And I was like, I like making weird music. Like that's what I
Yeah.
actually want to do. And so we had like this come to Jesus about that last night. Just be like, oh, we want different things. Yeah. So it was like a really,
Wow.
really
You know,
interesting.
it's funny, man. Like because this is like something I thought about tweeting out, and I was like even tweeting, I was like even tweeting feels like a fucking song and dance, and I'm just like, ah. But ended up deleting. I was like, this isn't fun or funny. But it was basically like if you have to compromise your values to succeed, did you actually succeed?
Mm.
Um,
Yeah, dude. You just reminded me of this fucking thing I wanted to talk to you about so much. John Boehner was on NPR this morning.
yeah,
And he fucking like they did an interview with him, and he just like kept. It was like I guess he's talking about his memoir. He just came out with a memoir, and like in his memoir, he just kept. I guess and like and in this interview, he just kept talking. He's like, I just realized that a leader without and he doesn't like his like really deep like southern voice. He's like,
yeah.
a leader without
Get really close to the microphone. Do the best boner that you can, or Boehner that you can.
the best. What does he say? The no, I can't remember what the fuck. Oh yeah,
I
yeah,
put
yeah,
too much pressure on you. I'm sorry.
yeah, yeah. No, a leader without a follower. No, fuck. A leader without followers is just a man taking a walk. And it's like, he just kept saying that. And like, but Which I kind of like that saying. It's like kind of fun. You know, it's like
Yeah.
it's
A
especially
leader
like,
without followers is just a man taking on. No, I actually like that. I mean, like fuck John Boehner, but I actually like that.
well, what's so funny about it is like he was using it to describe the Tea Party movement. He's like, yeah, all these fucking and like even in his words, he was like these wackos in Congress just started going this way, and he's like, well, I gotta be a leader. I have to get in front of these wackos and take them to the wacko parade. Just like that's not a good leader at all. That's like saying like it's like I'm a sheep herder. The sheep are just now headed towards like the ravine. It's like oh
Yeah.
better go down this ravine with them. You know.
This is literally just what I was talking about too. Like you want to read an actual memoir, go read a novel.
Yeah.
Like this guy's clearly just like rewriting history. Like this is a really cool science fiction book you've written, John Boehner. Like good
Yeah.
on you.
God, it's fucking nuts. It was. I was like yelling at the fucking yelling at NPR this morning. I was like, Jesus Christ, Boehner, what the hell are you
Yeah,
talking about? You know, but
that's good. Hey, good on you, man. Like
mm,
God, dude, I don't know. So it's it's weird to think that so many of us get our news from so many disparate sources. Like it's even like I don't listen to NPR anymore because I'm just like I just can't. I just fucking can't deal with the fucking stories and the way they talk about stuff. Um, and like I'm not saying like it's bad that you listen to it, but it's just like so funny. It's like yeah, God, like that, like just getting information like from this source like is gonna inform the way that like you view like different news stories or something like that. And it's just like that's like all of us now. Like it's so fucking crazy. Like
yeah. You know what's funny is I actually like I do love NPR. I like I told my dad that the other day, and he hated that. But
yeah,
I don't know. I you know, honestly my news consumption has dropped pretty precipitously in the last. I mean, like right before COVID, it was okay. When I used to work like a normal office job, I had NPR like in my ear all the time, just like consuming like everything, like any
mm,
all their podcasts, like everything that they would do. I just like it's all I listened to. And then yeah, but since the pandemic, I basically I just like see headlines on my phone and I just like read them real quick. I look for like interesting things, but it's like very little consumption. So NPR is like basically like the fucking life raft that just like keeps me somewhat informed, you know?
yeah. It's funny, man. Like I don't know if you would agree with this, but I was having a conversation with a friend of mine the other day, and I was like, in a world with so much information and like a period of time when everything does feel like very high stakes, like very little time to correct climate change, very little time to fix the problem of like ocean acidity and like plastic filling the water and microplastics, like a runaway train of like fascistic tendencies in the United States, making the country less and less democratic. Like everything that like it feels like a very pivotal historical moment after falling asleep at the wheel in the 90s and the Obama years. And like, I almost feel like what you like choosing what to focus on, like really being conscious of the content you consume almost feels like a moral imperative, which is why I feel like I'm so harsh on people watching fucking mukbang and like, shit like that. And I'm just like are you kidding? Like, really? Like, and this is what you want to spend your time doing and watching. So it's just like I think that's where my frustration comes from. It's like, and I told you too as well, like this like sense of urgency, but I think it's compounded. It's not just like me personally, but it's also like what we hear, from fucking scientists. They're like, we don't have like sounding the alarm, like we don't have long now.
Yeah.
So yeah, it's interesting.
Well, I mean, I think you summed it up pretty well. If you watch mukbangs, you're a fucking idiot. If you made it this far, we hate you. This was all a trap. Look how dumb you look now. Wipe the egg off your face, you little piggies. You're the little piggies. You hear that? Anyway,
Yeah, I don't know.
well,
I maybe it's I don't know, like trying to be like gentler and kinder is feels like an uphill battle for me. And it's funny, like we talk about the things we inherit from our families. Like I wonder how much of that is like my dad living through me and like just his attitude towards everything, you know?
right. Yeah, I mean, I definitely hear you. Um,
Yeah.
yeah, so,
Should we call?
oh,
Are you trying to call it? Is that what you're trying to do?
I'm trying to call it, bro. I'm calling it.
Let's call it, man.
Let's call it.
I could talk to you for hours and hours and hours. It's nice to be able to chat like informally again.
Yeah, no, I actually do love that.
Yeah.
All right, well, to everyone, to all of you one viewers who still have this going, congratulations, you made it past the ridicule, you made it past the insults. You kept us going in our darkest of times. You watched me clearly beat Ian in this epic competition of food consumption.
You did.
And
Tonight you won. All right. This was, you know what, the quadruple or the quadet, the McDonald's quartet whammy was revenge for you making me eat like 3/4 of a pizza by myself.
yeah, I definitely made you do that. Cool. Well, everyone, we love you. We think you are so special, and we want you to have a great night. We love you.